April 22nd meeting. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody got a share the needs one? Okay, thank you. Yes. We'll have a public safety presentation by Chris, and we have brought with you.
Hold on. Do you need to approve the agenda first?
Way ahead of myself, way ahead of myself.
And do we want to pull item 11 now, or when we get to the consent agenda? Okay.
So, approval of the agenda as. So your approval of the agenda? Second. Good. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as printed. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we will get to the presentations. Chris, who you bring along with you here tonight?
Well, I brought the chiefs, Chief Mundale and Chief Hoffman, our police and fire chief, and we want to visit with you today to bring you up to date on our public safety center. I want to thank you guys for this time to share the work that we've been doing for the city. We want to thoughtfully plan for our increasing public safety needs of our residents, our community, and our region. So the city has taken a staged planning, careful approach. So we started out with an in-depth assessment of our facilities, our public safety buildings and needs. And once we completed that, we found that our police and fire facilities are outdated and don't meet our current public safety standards or the needs of our first responders. So to overcome these challenges and support our employees, their safety and wellness, and protect our community, because let's be honest, police and fire is your main job as a city, as a county, it's your bread and butter, right? We're talking police and fire. So we are, the council authorized us to move forward with some additional planning for this public safety center. So we are looking at sites, we are reviewing potential design features and financing options to make sure that we're good stewards of our city and our resident resources. To fund this project responsibly, we've received funding to support our energy systems. We're received a grant for about, I think it's around $150,000. We're also working with our state representatives, Representative Sexton and Senator Jasinski, for an initial $1.5 million in state bonding funds for the preliminary planning of this project. We're also seeking community grant funds on the federal level as well through the offices of Senator Klobuchar, Senator Smith, and Representative Brad Princeton. So we are working on the scope and the design at this time. We anticipate this work will take much of 2025 to complete before a recommendation is made to the City Council. I'm going to turn it over now to Chief Mundale, who will share the challenges of our current police station, the needs of our police force, and the potential impacts a new public safety center would have on our entire region. Jeff.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity this afternoon. I'll begin with just a little bit of history about our current building. It was originally built in 1968 as a bank. The east portion of the building was added in about 1980, which is the space where the Sheriff's Office was stationed and currently remains our Steele 911 Center. Both police and sheriff used the space together for nearly 25 years. We have retrofitted the current law enforcement center over the years to be responsible stewards of our budgets while meeting the ever-growing demands of our region. But we are at a point now where we continue to spend money on a failing building is no longer an option or a sustainable solution. Even though we now have the entire building for our operations, it does not meet the needs of our department or prepare us for future growth or opportunities. As a commercial building, the design and layout does not support modern-day police services, hindering the work my staff does every day. As most of you know, the building also has major maintenance issues that would require significant investment in repairs to keep the building working as our headquarters. At a regional level, a new public safety center would create adaptable training facilities for both police and fire personnel, enhancing multi-jurisdictional emergency response team efforts, and strengthen regional training opportunities for all first responders. So I'd like to now turn over to Fire Chief Hoffman to share information about our fire station.
Thanks. Thanks for having us today. As you know, our fire department provides fire response, rural response through both for the city and rural area of over 200 square miles in Steele County here. We have mutual aid partnerships with all of our neighboring departments. And we're actually part of the Ottaway system with Waseca Fire. In addition to the fire department being housed there, we also host some of our important volunteer groups, CERT and Skywarn, that we're happy to work with and like working with. And also in partnership with the County Emergency Management, Kristen and her team, we have the Emergency Operations Center for both the county and the city located there. As you know, our fire station was built in 1906, been serving our community for over 100 years. But as the building has aged, operational needs have evolved. Lack of functional space and growing infrastructure and maintenance issues are restricting our efficiency. For example, some of the things right now, our training space. We have a training room right now that we actually have to bring in extra chairs just to fit our department training when we do our in-house training. We also host many regional and statewide trainings, so again, space gets pretty limited. Related to that exterior training space, again, we have no room really to train outside. Whenever we do hands-on training, we're generally shutting down the alley behind the station, trying to do it in a small alleyway there, just because of the limited space we have on site. Also, parking is a challenge for us. Like if you come to any of our trainings or meetings there, it's limited parking around the fire station, so it's hard for our paid-on-call firefighters, call response, things like that. Also, the chief mentioned, the health and welfare of officers and firefighters. Right now, with the fire service, we're learning just all the contaminants we deal with, the importance of decontamination after a fire, washing our gear, taking showers before we go back to work, things like that. That's one of the things we're lacking now is adequate shower space and things like that for our paid-on-call specifically to get cleaned up so they can go back to their families or their jobs. And finally, just living quarters, again, with current day standards and stuff, having more privacy for people, the bedrooms, the bathroom space, things like that. Mental health, having ability to have cool-down areas, work with our mental health professionals, things like that in the station. So a modern public safety center would support both police and fire departments today and into the future. Some things it would do: improve emergency response, and be co-located with police, and building that partnership and working with them. Reduce operational costs, again, having one facility reduces some of the costs operationally and also construction when we're building it, less duplication of items. Provide safe and functional space for our staff and equipment, and strengthen collaboration with our regional partners, again, whether volunteer groups or the neighboring departments, training and different things like that. So with that, I'll turn it back to Chris.
Well, thank you for your time, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board?
Do you have a spot picked out, or?
We're still waiting.
Yes.
So I think there's a spot in the north end of town, or a parcel in the north end of town that the fire, our city owns for future fire.
Yeah, originally we were looking at that for a second station, but evaluating what we have now, it's more important we want to have one good station first. Just because if we were to build that second station right now, the way our department is, a call volume doesn't really justify trying to staff two stations and the personnel that need to do that. So it wouldn't be the best use of our dollars at this time. As our community grows, especially the one north and east with the residential development, there will be a time where we will need a second station. But right now we feel that having one very good operational station is the best use of our dollars going forward.
Okay. Just a comment. Thanks for the communication and the collaboration. We meet as, some of you out here maybe don't know that, but we meet as a group with the city, school district, with you, and collaborate or talk about projects that are coming forward so that we're not all hitting the taxpayers at the same time. We share a lot of the same tax base, so I think this is important that we're talking about this. We're hopefully not planning any big projects at the same time that you're hoping to get one spread these costs out, so, over levy the taxpayers, so this is good. But there's all, and maybe you're not prepared to talk about it, there's also talk about community center
Down the road.
down the road.
Yes.
Okay,
And that would be funded through a sales tax or construction.
okay.
So, and here again, the way the sales tax work, we ask our, if none of the state amendments come through, if we stick with what was in place before, we would go to the legislature, ask permission to ask our taxpayers, hey, would you like a community center, would you like it funded with sales tax? So I would think that's the best, if they're willing to fund it with sales tax, then that should take care of the building, and then it's on us to figure out the operational costs and make sure that those are sustainable as well. But that's down the road, this is our primary concern.
And I think you touched on some of the funding sources, but you're gonna bond for a portion of it? Did you say that and I missed it?
Yes, that would be part of the funding strategy for the bonds.
Okay, anything else? No? Thank you for coming. Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you. That will take us to public comment. Those wishing to speak, state their name and address for the record. After they are acknowledged by the board chair, each person will be limited to 2 minutes to make his or her remarks. Speakers will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual commissioner. The board may not take action on an item presented during the public comment period unless the item is already on the agenda for action. When appropriate, the board may refer inquiries and items brought up during the public comment period to the county administrator for follow-up. So with that, I'll open it up for public comment. Anyone wishes to speak? Yeah, go to the podium, please.
My name is Tom Peterson from Blooming Prairie, also known as the guy that does not want parking on County Road 46. I live at 6731 158th Street Southeast, Blooming Prairie, Minnesota. I'm here because I'm opposed to the resolution allowing parking on the east side of County Road 46. And I think that there should be no parking on either side of 46. It was refreshing for me to hear that one of the commissioners at the last meeting stood up for and acknowledged the need for public safety on County Road 46. His stand was the first comment, the first show of support for common sense on County Road 46. I've been at this for 10.5 months, trying to get someone at the county level to talk about common sense for public safety on County Road 46. Jim Abbey was the first. Commissioner Abbey understands public safety, he gets it. He understands for the sake of our children and spectators entering district property from the road down in Blooming Prairie to sporting events, no parking needs to be posted on both sides of County Road 46. He understands the gravity of peril that exists for the county should the county deny responsibility for due diligence in not posting both sides of the road. He understands the time to move forward with no parking is now, and not when a child is severely injured or worse, killed. Anyone who votes for continued parking on County Road 46 in any form doesn't understand public safety. They don't get it. To those, I ask the following questions. Where's the common sense for the county to consider a resolution right now, moving all the parked vehicles to one side of the road by posting the other side? Twice as many cars, twice as many too small spaces between bumpers for the kids to dart out into the traffic, twice as many too small spaces for families walking the road with strollers or bicyclists to exit from approaching vehicles, all moving way too fast. Where is public safety? Where is the common sense for the county to champion sports at the expense of public safety on County Road 46? Where is public safety? Where is the common sense for the county to allow a few spectators to watch sporting events from their cars
entertaining, Tom. Your 2 minutes are up. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
Okay, we got Katarina, we got a lot of people, get on. Yep.
My name is Ron Thorson, and I live at 336 4th Avenue Southwest. My house actually, I'm on the block that borders County Road 46. So I urge the county to prohibit parking along County Road 46 next to Blooming Prairie. Last summer, I experienced firsthand how dangerous the parking situation can be. I was watching a girls' softball game with my wife and our 2-year-old grandson. As toddlers do, he wandered off, fascinated by a group of young girls playing behind home plate. I left my seat to go pick him up. Then he saw one of the girls run up the ditch and disappear between 2 parked cars along County Road 46. And in an instant, he took off after her. Because the road is elevated, neither he nor I could see the northbound car speeding toward him. If not for that girl stepping back and grabbing him, the unimaginable would have happened. I came within a second of picking up my living grandson to pick up the dead one. I grew up in Blooming, and for most of my life, parking in County Road 46 was never a problem. But last summer was a wake-up call, and it made me realize how serious the problem is. From my home, I can see how congested that road gets, especially when they use sports events. On Victory Field alone, up to 100 kids, actually up to 400 kids, some as young as 5, come to play soccer, and with them, crowds of spectators and parked cars. I support youth sports wholeheartedly, but when preschool and elementary age kids are playing along County Road 46, and parking there creates a real danger. It's only a matter of time before another child runs up that ditch, and this time there'll be no one to stop them. Thank you for your time. County Road 46 was never meant to be a parking lot, and we must not sacrifice the public safety for convenience. I hope action is taken before tragedy strikes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone else? Good, Dean. Good, Dean. Wait, Dean.
Scott Sorensen. My address is 4616 Southeast 18th Street, Havana. I'm here to oppose agenda approval item number 19, I think it is. It's the Havana project. Last time I was here, I talked about that Senator Jasinski had proposed a plan to move the road construction north. It would minimize the destruction of farmland. That was proposed. It's in your study. I know you've seen it, right? It's referred to as Plan 4B. If anybody cares to look at it, you'll see that it makes a lot more sense than a plan that cuts right through my farm and Thames Farm. And I know that on the agenda tonight is to approve it. I just want to state that with John's plan making much more, Senator Jasinski's plan making much more sense, even just looking at it, it's a 23%, you already chose the most expensive option possible according to your feasibility study. This plan that minimizes farmland destruction is 23% more. And anybody looking at the plan would understand which one makes more sense, because they're not making more farmland, right? We can always make roads. And part of the justification is for a future bridge that might come in 40 years. I just came back from Arizona. In Phoenix, Arizona, there's a very large percentage of the cars that drive themselves. Do you think that we're going to be driving cars in 40 years? We're going to need a bridge? You know, immediately the first thing that's going to be within 10 years is self-driving trucks, right? So I think when we're looking at these future plans, we need to take those things into consideration. And that's it.
Thank you, Scott. Now, Dean.
Hello, I'm Dean Schramm. I'm here representing Homestead Hospice. I live in 18600 650th Street, Dodge Center. I've been a lifelong resident of Steele County until 4 years ago. But my concerns is we as a board, I came on the board in November, okay? we as a board had no idea of this tax implication. And it's a $55,000 hit to our house, and I went to Renee, we talked, or did the email and so forth, but on the other side of it, people, we do not have the time to get all this information in order to get to tax court. We didn't find out till March, it was in March, in March, March 15th, we did not know we had a tax bill. We didn't even have a tax estimate for 2025. So I really have a problem with, and I understand you're doing your jobs, you have to do protocol to the legal system, but you're putting a huge hamper on opening Hospice House and put a debt against them, along with the other issues that they are facing for opening the house with the state. And we do not get any back information as a board. I received an email from Renee that she had it, we had to do, or no, I did not receive it, we received it from Brian, an abatement, and we went through it, and we passed two, but there's no answer what the third was. And I'm sure other people are gonna be bringing stuff up here too.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Lady in the back?
I am Pat Beretta, my address 7575 Crane Creek Road, Owatonna. I am with the Homestead Hospice House Board. I am here about the property tax. I have been on the board of directors, and I am currently the vice president of that board, and also am the board representative for the Seasons Hospice Board. Seasons is the current tenant for the resident hospice house as of March 1st. Alina held the lease until June of '24. In '23, our board received the notice from Alina that it would discontinue services at the house. We immediately began pursuing a nonprofit hospice provider. By January of '24, we already were negotiating a lease with Seasons Hospice and determined mutually that we needed to raise $850,000 before we opened and began startup. Residential hospice is primarily funded by private pay and charitable funds. And a robust in-home hospice program needs to be in the area to support and supplement a residential house, which Seasons Hospice is a 5 out of 5 star Medicare hospice provider. They own and operate a Medicare certified house in Rochester for 25 years. Christine Peterson-Wright, who is their executive director, has become a part of our community, joining Rotary and Chamber of Commerce. They opened their home care program in our Steele County 1 year ago in April, in anticipation of opening the house. In '24, we, along with Seasons, utilized the property for holding meetings, tours, presentations to raise the $850,000, and did not utilize the space for commercial use, strictly nonprofit. Our community clearly committed and came up with the dollars. contributing their hard-earned dollars to support this unique home that was specifically designed for hospice. One last statement, please.
One last, Pat.
I am very concerned about the significant increase in the property tax for 2025, which robs our individuals and community of their donated dollars to open and sustain this very beneficial end-of-life residence in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Public comment, who wants to be next?
I want to talk real quick. And this is not my name is Mary Camels, and I live at 1645 Dane Road in Owatonna. And I've been observing all of you in front of here, you all are public servants, and you're your constituents. Renee, I would ask that you please not scroll on your phone while your constituents are presenting very vital information.
She's on the timer. I mean, talk about the issue, any issue you want, please, but don't pick on anybody sitting at the table here.
Well, I'm not picking, I'm
Well,
just
let's just-
observing, I am
What's
observing.
the issue? What's the issue?
Mr. Brady, is that you guys are all public servants, and I ask that you guys do pay attention when constituents are up here speaking. That is respect. So I noticed that not only with others here with this program, but two other topics. So that's just all I'm asking, is that you show some respect. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Casey Camholz, I live at 1645 Dane Road here in Owatonna. I've come before you before, one time without a prepared statement. I thought that was a mistake, and I'm going to repeat the mistake here because I just want to let you guys know that I'm terribly frustrated because to begin with, on early April, I sent a letter, and I still have not got a response from that letter. By chance, last Wednesday, we had a board meeting, and I brought the subject of our taxes up, and a fellow board member who I included in this letter, which a couple of you board members got, I have one for everybody if you like, informed me that that there's been a little bit of a problem, and there is actually an exemption that we can, or a way that we could get around this. I found that out by happenstance because I've never received a reply from my letter. This was sent in my junk mail from Brian, and I found it, and it had a form I could fill out. And I quickly filled it out, got all the necessary paperwork, handed it in time, only to be told by a phone call on Friday night, late Friday night, with an email to follow, which I still haven't received, that our motion, or our application had been denied. 2 points it met, 3 points, or the third point it didn't meet, and that was the use criteria. I just don't understand. So I'm very frustrated, but I know that there's a solution to this outside of tax court. I don't think we need to hire an attorney to go to tax court, but if that's what it takes, we're not going to let this stop us from opening a homestead house. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Sister Franchon Purkle. I live at 2396 Southeast, 128th Street in Blooming Prairie. And I bring some ancient history to this moment because I'm the retired chaplain of hospice. And it's ironic that today we are remembering and honoring Pope Francis, who gave his life by ministering to those destitute in poverty, living on the margins, and dealing without hope in their lives. And as I look at hospice, those are many of the same characteristics that really are a part of that ministry. People who it's probably the worst time in their life, and they are without hope. And so I just plead with you as commissioners, I know that things fall in the cracks because of a lack of communication, of negligence, a whole lot of reasons. But if there are if there's any way possible for you to continue to look at this picture and to help in any way, just know we are grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa Zimmerman, 2525 Creek Drive. Back in high school, I was a nerd. I did math problems for fun. The jocks and the popular kids, they copied my homework and I let them. We've been doing the homework here too. For 3 years, we have been trying to give you the answers too. But instead of working with us on this group project, you decided to take away our choice, stripping the federal safeguards that gave residents a voice. You gave more power to a township, a non-voting party, than to the very residents that you were elected to protect. Some of our homes are just 17 feet from the right-of-way. That's not just close, it's unprecedented in Steele County. This isn't like other roads where homes were built after the fact. This should never happen. Federal and state laws require that we avoid, minimize, mitigate, in that order. Avoid means choosing 34th Avenue, or the hybrid solution, or alternative 3B. Minimize isn't possible. Mitigate means a $2.3 million noise wall. We were prepared to vote yes for that noise wall to protect our families, but you tried to take that choice away without even so much as a vote. You removed federal funding and shifted the entire $30 million burden to your own residents. In May, the county made it clear that there was no intention of building a noise wall, but would put it to a vote at the request of elected officials. WSB warned we would vote yes. Instead of following the expert recommendations, it was made clear, if they vote yes, we'll move it out. If they vote no, we'll build it 17 feet from their homes. You've already paid for the avoidance studies on the secret alternative known as 3B. Your experts agree with us, but their answers have been kept quiet. We have the answers, we always have. If you want to copy them now before the costs continue to rise, they're available. Avoid it or abandon it. Meanwhile, our neighborhood will continue moving forward, protecting our community every way we can. Safety isn't optional. You're just choosing how long to fight it. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Anyone else? Anyone else going twice? Anyone else 3 times? Public comments? No. Thank you. Good correspondence. Your packet got Southern Minnesota Tourist Association letter on page 4. And then that will take us to the consent agenda. And I've been asked to pull number 11 from the consent agenda. For that, I would look for motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda as printed.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda with the removal of number 11.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda with the pulling of number 11. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Then we will do number 11 right now before we get into the general agenda. So, number 11. Go ahead, Paul.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Yeah, item 11 here is we had recently cleaned out the highway ditch along County Highway 6, just east of Highway 157, Austin Road. County 6 is also southeast 68th Street. After we cleaned out the ditch, which we did to existing and planned, the way the road was constructed, we did not change any of the culverts on the road. The culvert elevations remained the same. So we basically restored the road to the condition that it was built to. After we had done that work, we got a request from a property owner here to clean out his drainage way through his private property here. The natural drainage way that the culvert underneath our highway drains to. At one point, back in 1971, Steele County had entered an agreement with the previous property owner there, along with, it looked like some kind of construction project or something going on. They were working with the Department of Agriculture and other things, so there were several different parties involved with that to help build this drainage way. After we worked with County Attorney Jarrett here, and determined that there was absolutely no agreement in that agreement to continue maintenance of this. That was further on the property owner to deal with that. I provided some aerial photos in your packet here of some of the history of this. At one point, there was a well-maintained and grass-lined drainage way on this. Sometime in recent memory, the drainage way was plowed through, and so probably does not drain very well anymore. However, working with the Public Works Policy Committee here, we took the recommendation that we should, we can just go in and do some work in here, maintain some of this, and then we need a right of entry agreement to go on the private property, and then just make it clear to the property owner that we are not responsible for future maintenance of this. Any questions?
Okay, thank you for that, Paul.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So you can see in the photos in 2010, there was a drainage way. It says in the report here that landowner plowed it up. So why are we responsible for redoing it? Is my question.
I don't think there is any responsibility that we have. It was a request blaming us for the issues on his property. Yes, the highway does drain into his field. That is a natural drainage way. We are required by law that we have to maintain natural drainage ways as far as where our culverts are located, so any drainage from the other side of the road or through our ditches follow a natural drainage pattern and then would naturally drain across this property. So technically we have no responsibility other than maybe some discussion on what, if any, kind of responsibility we have with this previous agreement.
Any other comments from the board?
Guess I'm still not following it. So this has been a committee, right?
Correct.
And it was brought back to Steele County because why? I mean, I guess I'm going along the same line of questioning as Commissioner Glenn. You know, we're showing that it's been plowed through and now you're being asked to.
Being asked to clean it all and maintain it, correct.
On what basis?
They're blaming the work by the county highway department cleaning out our ditch, saying that was increased flow and through this field.
I've got, yeah, I was called out there by the property owner and went out to look at it. And at that time, told me that we had put extra water on them and maybe some dirt got taken away where another wetland could drain all through there. But I guess I wasn't aware that it was a grass waterway beforehand. And I'd like to say, if it was a grass waterway now, it'd still be working as was made. I can't see why, if the grass waterway had stayed there, it'd be still working. And then I see the Department of Agriculture paid $1,720 to establish that waterway and pay for part of the dirt moving around, so. I would think now, my position right now is it was on the property owner's property, it was paid for by either the soil and water or through the USDA partial payment. And if it was worked up at his discretion, it would be his peril from there on. So he would have to take care of it.
That would be my idea too, but
So that's kind of why I got pulled off a consent agenda, because like I said, there's a couple things I wasn't really aware of, so at this point, I would not approve it myself. But it's up to the board's wishes, if there's a motion to be made. Do I hear any motion?
Is there any chance that I could give a little history on that?
Yes, you can, I'll give you the satisfaction of a little history on it, if there's anything changed. Is there anything different than we don't know now?
Well, I don't know where that money comes from to seed that waterway down, because I know none of that. What I know is that the whole drainage system was set up in '71 because that road was untravelable in the spring. And the drainage come my way, 12-inch tile, and the rest of it on the east end went down to Jensen's. Well, we bought the property in '73, and the county still wasn't satisfied that there was good enough drainage off of that road. So I think it was about '75, the maintenance supervisor, Maynard, come to me and Jensen and asked if they could put these waterways in, one on mine and one on Jensen's. And we agreed to it, and they sent Clifford and Clarence out with graders to grade that little waterway on mine. It wasn't even 16 feet wide. And I was the one that seeded it down. And over the years, it silted in just like the ditch did on the road. And yeah, it got worked over after that, but it was the silting in part that, and because the county road didn't have the ditch cleaned either, what was there took care of the water that came our way until we dug another 2 feet out on the north side of the road and opened that slough up to the neighbor there. And so consequently, way more water come my way, and now it's not working again. And I don't know where the history is about somebody paying for that waterway, because I never seen that. It was 2 county graders out there that graded a V in there. That's what we started with. It was about 75, right in there.
Agreements in the packet.
Yeah, so I know all the county road ditches, they're continuously getting more sediment in there, a little bit at a time, and our crews are periodically going around fixing the worst cases first, but they just keep silting in. That's a known fact. But when I look here, I look at my packet, there was $1,720 paid from the Department of Agriculture. If you could, I'm sure that was for the waterway.
In 1971.
Yeah, so.
Well, that would have been the original waterway way down east. That wasn't the one built on my property.
Well, I would say we'd have to, the way it seems to me, it's one on your property, but what I'm saying is, if that's the case, I'm not gonna spend more tax dollars on work that's already done. I think you can understand that. Maybe we can clarify that, but as of right now, I'm willing to go for it.
The map shows it.
Right, yeah, well, so, but like I say, it was working that good. In the original county one, county agreement, it doesn't say that we're supposed to go back and do any more work after the original time. So, if I don't hear a motion on the floor, I would just leave this off unless we get further final more confirmation on it. Comment?
I think if there's no motion, it dies for lack of a motion, right?
I'll ask for motion once. Any motion twice? Dies for lack of a motion. Okay. Move on. It'll take us to general agenda, on page 105 of your packet. Adopt a resolution declaring National Work Zone Awareness Week. Paul?
Good evening again. I'm asking the board here to adopt a resolution here to recognize the incredible work that the public works people do, both my staff, the county highway staff, multiple agencies across the nation and so forth. We as a department join many other agencies asking the nation to be very cognizant of their drive through work zones, cognizant of the safety of our workers, and for the safety of themselves. I'm going to get a little personal here. In the many years of my career, I've unfortunately had too many experiences with this. A colleague of mine was injured in a work zone, a hit-and-run accident. Fortunately, it was only a broken arm. I've had the sad duty to attend the funeral, where in front of the church was a whole bunch of parked big orange county trucks sitting in front of the funeral. And then not just highway workers and maintenance workers, utility workers, contractors, but it also affects the public. I unfortunately was at the scene of a motorcyclist that had crashed into one of my work crews in a different county. The motorcyclist slammed into the back of a county truck, and I had to watch him being airlifted, and he later died. This is serious business. This is serious things. We need to ask our public, ask all of us behind the wheel to slow down through work zones, pay attention, get off your phones, get off your distractions, and remember this Work Zone Awareness Week here this week. Our theme here is respect the zone so we all get home.
Mr. Chair, I'll offer the resolution declaring National Work Week, or Work Zone Awareness Week in Steele County.
I will second that. Motion been made and seconded to adopt the resolution declaring National Work Zone Awareness Week. Any discussion on this matter? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. I'll take us number 16, page 109.
All right, 46 parking issue here was tabled. We were looking at this last time around, April 8th. We're reviewing the issue of whether we should allow parking or not along South 46, along the Blooming Prairie School. Just kind of briefly going through this again here for you. County 46 is not built for parking. It does not provide an adequate width along the other side of the highway. Parking is available. The school district has spent a lot of effort to provide parking. They've extended a parking lot on the west side of 46. They've invested a lot of infrastructure in building sidewalks from their east side of the building, ADA compliant, as well as there's plenty of parking on side city streets. Highway 46 is a fairly low volume road though. It's only got about 400 vehicles a day, pretty minor. Parking has occurred along this road for many years, and people certainly enjoy the option.
I'd like to make, Mr. Chair, can I make a few comments
Yes.
first? Since our last meeting, I've talked to quite a few people, and I want to bring up too the landowner across the street who's pushing for this. Has balls hidden in his yard, and he doesn't let people grab them. I talked to the previous homeowner there and said that he never had a problem there. And then I think a text I got last night, I was in the History Center meeting, but I got this text and I'm reading, and I think that kind of hits a nail on the head. This is a city employee in Blooming Prairie. I thought from the baseball game, if there is no parking at all on the road, the cars coming through will drive the speed limit or faster. There are a ton of little kids here. Also, when Tom Peterson was on the school board, it wasn't an issue. But now that his kid lives across the road, it is. I think that sums it up.
Sure. Yes.
I'm going to stay consistent with my opinion from the last meeting that let's take the people out of it, the opinions, because you're going to have have people on both sides of the issue, I'm sure you agree with that. You're gonna have people saying that it doesn't matter to them, you can park anywhere you want, you're also gonna have people saying they shouldn't be parking there at all. All of that aside, you're gonna have people saying they shouldn't be parking there at all, be parking there. And what makes my decision even easier is that there's ample parking in the parking lot of the school. There's a ADA sidewalk that people who are mobility impaired or couldn't possibly get up there otherwise can use the sidewalk to get there to watch their games and watch their grandkids or family members play ball. I just think because of that, we shouldn't allow it on either side. I would recommend that we amend the resolution to say no parking on either side of that road because it's not designed for that. And I wouldn't want, if we don't address that and something happens, that's on us. I mean, I don't know if it's on us legally, but people are gonna come back to us and say, you had the opportunity to address this and you didn't do anything about it. So I don't think we should have it on either side of the road. I know it was discussed in committee and it was a compromise to allow it on one side, and I think that's a good approach, but now that it's made it to this, in front of this board, I think we should take it a step further and say, this road's not designed for that, we shouldn't allow parking on either side. And I'm gonna support whatever this board decides as a whole. I don't think that's where we should go. If we are gonna allow it on one side, but if it ends up being that way, I support it.
If we, Mr. Chair, if we put no parking on both sides in a challenging kids, are we responsible then as well? I mean, that question go both ways.
Well, I understand that, and I don't think, to that, I don't think you can you can mitigate all risk. But if we have an opportunity to do something to try to mitigate it, we should do that.
I think personally that if there's cars parked on both sides, people drive slow there already. And you know, if you take the cars away, there's a higher speed. That's my thought.
Further thoughts, the board's wishes? If there's,
Mr. Chair, if I just make a comment, I kind of changed my mind on this after seeing the picture of the school bus parked on this last time. Which, a car is one thing, a bus is something totally different. And if the school district and that is not going to at least control that type of parking, which I think should be their responsibility, then I agree with Commissioner Abbey. I think we should just eliminate parking on the road. I think the school district has done a pretty good job of adding parking. And I know it's going to affect a few people who have trouble walking. But I think the school district down there should have at least taken a responsibility to get that bus, and I'm guessing it was for an opposing team or something like that, that should not have been there. And for that one reason alone, I have got to change my mind on this.
well, in order to take any action, we're gonna have to have a motion and a second, and have discussion before we vote. Are there any motions?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we amend the resolution to indicate that there's parking that parking is prohibited on both sides.
Do your second.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
I do think that no matter what happens, it almost has to be an all or nothing thing. I think you can't have half. The more we've talked about it, it's all or nothing.
I myself thought that one side, which it came with originally, was a good compromise, because I bet, the calls, people upset about, all or nothing, that they thought one side was a good compromise. I can say I went to school, Medford played Blooming Prairie Road. We parked along there in 1980. And nothing's happened since then, but it could happen tomorrow. But,
Did you win?
I think they were, we had 3 lines of football players, and I went around the corner and a big guy hit me, and I seen the stars. They were big, we were little, but that's beside the point. But, so I myself, I thought I'm more for a compromise on it, but we've got a motion and a second. I'm gonna call the question now. All those in favor of no parking on both sides of the county road, say aye. Aye. Hands? Those against? Aye. So, vote no parking on either side of the road. 3-2.
Mr. Chair, if I can ask to clarify the motion with the resolution then state now therefore be it resolved to county shall ban parking of motor vehicles on facade 46 from facade 15 to facade 13.
Both sides, not one side.
Okay.
That will take us to 17, page 111.
We have actually 17 and 18 very similar here. The state of Minnesota, under state statutes, gives the Minnesota Department of Transportation or the Transportation Commissioner the authority to establish speed limits on county highways. We have regularly review speed limits on the county highway system, and we have 2 different zones here tonight that we want to take a look at again. This one here is Facade 1. This is Cedar Avenue on the north side of Owatonna towards Medford, between Facade 34, which is 26th Street, to County Highway 9. We have no record of any speed limit authorizations from the Transportation Commissioner for this zone. There's been several changes out there over the years. We constructed a roundabout there at the corner of 1 and 34. The land use around the area has changed from rural to commercial and residential use as the area's been annexed into the city. So these are changes that affect how MnDOT establishes speed limits. So I'm asking the board here in this case to adopt a resolution requesting the Transportation Commissioner to review the speed zone here.
Board's wishes?
Mr. Chair, I'll offer that resolution.
Second.
The resolution's been offered and seconded to adopt MnDOT's reform of speed study on County State Aid Highway number 1 and County State Aid Highway number 34 to County State Aid Highway number 9. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And a similar one, this one is County Highway 48, Bixby Road on the southeast corner of Owatonna, between US Highway 14 and Chambers Avenue. Again, in this case, we do have some authorizations that were established setting the speed zone from basically from Havana Road to Chambers here at 40 miles an hour. But yeah, since the establishment of that authorization, there's been many changes out here. Again, the county built a roundabout here at the corner of 18th and Bixby Road. We've resurfaced and narrowed the lanes, added left turn lanes. Land use has changed significantly, going from a rural farmland to residential subdivisions. So again, these changes could potentially affect how MnDOT establishes a speed zone through this area. So again, asking for a resolution asking the Transportation Commissioner to review the speed zone there.
I would say especially with the approved development that's going in there. The apartment complex, I mean, that's going to create much more traffic there. Again, I will make that resolution.
Okay, do I hear a second? Second. Motion's been made and seconded to adopt resolution requesting MnDOT to perform speed study on County State Aid Highway number 48 from US 14 to Chambers Avenue. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Nineteen.
All right, number 19. This is the intersection improvement project that is on our capital improvement plan. That last, back 2 weeks ago, we had a presentation from our consultant, WHKS, presenting the various options that we looked at. WHKS has been studying this project for some time here now. We've had 2 public meetings. We've got a lot of valuable input on the different alternatives we were looking at and the different impacts that all the alternatives have. As you know, we presented the information to you here, and at the conclusion of the study here, we are recommending option 4. And the benefits that it provides is it does not affect any houses. We will not tear down any houses, we'll not have to relocate residents, but it does have some very significant impacts into farmland. It does set us up for future overpass as this roadway, South 43, is developed into the Owatonna Beltline. The traffic as presented has increased substantially out there with the changes to US 14. And as the city grows and expands this way, there will be certainly more and more traffic. Eventually, MnDOT will be building an interchange at Highway 14 and County 43.
I have a question.
Yes.
It says in our handout, unless I'm reading it correctly, it says relocation required for one property owner.
Oh, that
For all, alternative 4. That's what we're
alternative
talking
4,
about.
there is an option that we are recommending not doing at this time.
Is that the one to the south?
The 18th Street, that is,
All right, I think I know what you're talking about, I just
Yeah.
wanted clarity on that.
we listed it as property number 2, owned by Eaton. Yeah, 18th Street at this point, while it's nice to do, I don't think it's worth spending money at this time. It's got very limited traffic on it being a township gravel road at this time, so I would not recommend it moving forward there. So yeah, with that minor change to the overall recommendation, there would be no residential relocations required at this time.
Okay, so with that being said, and the estimated anticipated cost, is that factored in, or how is that part of the equation?
That, I believe, was included in the,
So that would reduce our
so
anticipated
that'd be
cost?
taken out,
It
correct?
must be factored in, yeah, the price for the host and stuff.
Parcel 2, they estimated about $210,000 in just the right-of-way acquisition costs.
Okay.
I don't have the specifics for the actual roadway cost, but it's a township road, gravel, maybe on the order of $100,000, $200,000 that would be taken off the property.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Board's wishes on this matter?
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
Answering Commissioner Abbey here, he had some questions at the previous work session. Had some, we did update the feasibility report on that one paragraph you were looking at, just the different, what were they called here, I'm sorry, the different improvements that we made and how the crash reduction factors. And we went back and, yeah, we were missing a couple of the crash reduction factors for the left turn lanes, the right turn lanes we added, and so forth. So we did clarify that. So brought in a lot more of the safety benefits that we're looking for. That, well, yeah, I guess we all knew as engineers putting together the report, it all made sense, but yeah, helped clarify what you were looking for. So that answered your question there.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the requested action of the board this evening is to select an alternative that would then inform the departments work with regard to the bridge repair further north on 34th, but it would be the first step then of commissioning plans, specifications, and that sort of thing. So the selection of that alternative would be helpful so that our highway department and our engineering team can work forward on getting those plans ready.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Is it, probably a question for Paul, is it usually, is it customary to have a 20% contingency?
Yes, it's for all those unknowns that we don't know at this point, as we get into final design and start looking at details, so we like to have a number out there for contingencies, things that we don't know yet at this point. As we go through, take the in-depth survey with the survey team, get out there and actually measure things in depth as we get into more analysis and more details.
Thank you.
Any questions, any other questions for Paul? If not, board's wishes. Board's wishes. It's a tough one.
You've got this slated for when, 2026?
The current CIP 2026, well, given the timeline that we're looking at here, it might make sense to put it off a little bit longer.
Mr. Chair. I've also had a lot of comments about the four-way stop, and people have asked me, is that an alternative? It would be a low-cost alternative. People seem to like it. Maybe the people that live there don't, but, I mean, you already paid for that. This is a question I get asked.
I've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. It's certainly addressing an immediate concern of safety. I don't think it fully addresses the very close proximity of all the crossings as traffic will increase. That will still be a continued issue. It is, when trucks come to a stop at that intersection, they're sitting with their back end across the railroad crossing. That's a major concern for the railroad. That's a major concern for the safety of our traffic. One of the crashes that was identified in the crash report analysis that we did was a truck versus train. So there's obviously a very big safety hazard. The four-way stop is not fixing that. As traffic increases out here, it will continue to be more dangerous. The traffic counts, the rate is based on previous traffic counts, not based off of what we anticipate here in the future. So as traffic increases, I fully expect, even with the stop signs, that crashes will continue to increase here.
Thank you.
Was there a project that MnDOT was supposed to be doing soon too, on Highway 14? That we want to have this done in the meantime?
Nothing that I'm aware of at the County 43 intersection.
There was some project that we talked about, but
Eventually, they have identified this to be a future interchange, grade separated interchange, but that's going to be dictated by traffic needs and or crash history.
Well, that's planned to be the bypass.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is the wishes of the board?
I hate to, Mr. Chair, I hate to keep revisiting the same
Well-
stuff, however, I guess I'm thinking along the lines of Commissioner Glenn and the stop signs. We just got them out there. And then we had someone at public comment stand up and say that this alternative is 23% more costly than, and isn't that what I heard?
No, he was talking about
4B is
4B, moving it further north is another 25% more cost.
So moving it up to basically the property line, the one that's not even,
Correct, 4B that's not even,
so that's 25% or 23% more than the R4?
yes.
Which is about 1.4 million.
Okay, that's what I was.
Even did state it was like 23% more
Yeah,
the next below option.
okay.
If we, and I think we're just conversing here, if we move this out to 2027 and gave that four-way stop a true test that long, because I'm anticipating, even with the alternative number 4, would there still be a four-way stop at that corner?
No, the proposal is, County 43, would become the main thoroughfare based on the current traffic counts and the fact that it is gonna be a double line and it's gonna be the main thoroughfare north-south.
So the stop signs
would
at
be-
Claremont Avenue.
Yeah, so it'll just be a two-way stop, stopping Claremont Avenue, and 43 would become the thoroughfare.
Renee?
So the board has some latitude in terms of the timing of the construction of the project. However, we are slated to do a bridge project this summer that is going to be very much impacted by the selection of one of these alternatives. So if you're planning to select alternative number 4, that will allow Paul and his team to move forward with the bridge repair that needs to happen just north of the proposed interchange, or in this case, the new intersection. So if the board wanted further study as we're doing plan specs and other design-related work, then that's something that Paul can talk with the engineering team about. But we are looking for a decision on a preferred route, if at all possible this evening, because we do have bridge work that is slated to be completed in summer of '25.
Even if we decide to, I mean, really all we're deciding is the route, right? So this isn't like we're set in stone, but I think that Route 4 is the best option.
If there's any chance of going to 4D, which is significantly more expensive, it would require us to do something different at this bridge, that's to the north here. We would have to accommodate turn lanes on top of that bridge. Instead of just 2 lanes, we'd have to accommodate 4 lanes on that bridge, so doubles the cost of the bridge. And there are significant repercussions to the drainage ditch there that, from the ditch authority, we pretty much told they don't really want us to interrupt it, but there's options to look at, but it's expensive, it's doing something that the drainage authority is not overly excited about. So there's major repercussions with moving it further to the north.
And the additional bridge cost is not included in that.
I think we did put some costs into that, but yeah, we need to make a decision if we're gonna proceed with this project or not. We've already designed the bridge, it's ready to go to contract, ready to go out for bidding here. Was scheduled for construction this summer here, so.
And that doesn't have any effect on the future bridge. I mean, what's that gonna impact the bridge you're fixing, meaning the
Could you rest now, this would be, north of the.
So we'd still be setting ourselves up for the future.
So that's.
For bridges, that's.
Yeah, right, I just didn't know if this would.
Mr. Chair. Yes. So one more time, what are the pitfalls of the stop signs that are currently out there? So it's, the semis are gonna get backed up, or you just walk me through that? Yeah, certainly, we still have the skew, we still have the bad angle, so if somebody blows a stop sign, it's gonna be hard to see somebody coming. The skew, the trucks have a pretty significant hard time making that turn. Trucks are backing across the railroad tracks. I know the railroad is looking at increasing their speeds on it. They've been asking MnDOT to allow them to go faster on that road, so trains are gonna be going faster. So more risks of vehicles parked on that, so moving this intersection further north benefits that. And just the increased traffic over time is just all that more opportunity for crashes. Of course, any intersection is always prone to some sort of crash. We can't, I think somebody earlier said tonight that we can't mitigate every possible crash, but this proposed alternative here will significantly improve this intersection for the motorists driving through here and set us up for
the future.
And ultimately, whatever one we choose, somebody's gonna be impacted. I think that's the discussion we had at those town hall meetings, is that if it's not you, it's your neighbor, you know, somebody's gonna be impacted. How we approach this. And it looks like alternative number 4 is the least impactful, but obviously the most costly. You can't always look at the bottom line or the dollars, without what's best for everyone we represent. I'll make the motion. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we move forward with alternative number 4.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to move forward on alternative number 4 for County State Highway number 2 dash County State Highway 43 dash County Road 174, County Road 180 and Havana. Any further discussion?
I just want to comment that, obviously, this is, I'm not reluctant in the decision, because you should be strong in your beliefs, but it's tough because it does impact people's properties, homes. Those are tough decisions, but I think for the greater good of everyone, and that has been identified as the worst intersection in our county, and it certainly needs attention, that's why it's here. That's why I made the motion to move forward with it.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That will take us to land use.
And presenting to the board this evening is Amber Brooks, our building official. She is serving in Dale's absence.
Welcome, Amber. Just take your time and we'll get through this. First time will be easy.
Okay. So the first one is CP Living. It is a sand and gravel pit in Owatonna Township, operated by Logan Excavation and Drainage. There was no mined materials over the past 5 years in this pit. There were no complaints. The planning commission recommended moving for another 5 years with a change to condition number 15.
Thanks. Any questions from the board on this one?
You want to change the date? Sure, I'll make a motion to approve, CUP number 299 with 14 conditions based on findings of fact.
Have a motion, do we hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve CUP number 299, any conditions based on the findings of fact. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Will take us to CUP number 441. Amber.
This CUP is from Mitchell and Green LLC to do structures currently on property located in Clinton Falls for the temporary storage of sweet corn silage and sweet corn leachate, which are industrial byproducts. Silage may be fed to beef cattle on site or land applied. Silage leachate and stormwater runoff may be land applied or transferred to hometown fire energy. There was some concern from the public that the smell could be an issue to surrounding residents and businesses, as well as a concern for pollution in the river. This was determined, or it was determined that the smell would not be an issue since it is currently a feedlot and meets the setbacks for the industrial byproduct permit issued by the PCA, and as consulting certified the tank and secondary confinement field in the case that the tank fails, so it should protect the river. The planning commission recommends approving this CUP with 6 conditions.
Any questions for Amber on CUP number 441? If not, the board's wishes.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve CUP 441 with 6 conditions based on findings of fact.
Do I hear a second? Motion's been made and seconded to approve CUP number 441 with the 6 conditions and the findings of fact. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That'll take us to number 22, IUP number 2010-02,
This gravel pit is located in
page
town.
219.
This gravel pit is located in Milan Township and operated by Logan Excavation and Drainage. It was originally permitted in 1987 under a different company. Logan took over in 2010. There were approximately 91,000 cubic yards removed in this pit over 5 years. The planning commission recommends renewing for another 5 years with a change in condition number 16.
The agenda refers to 17 conditions, but the actual IUP has 18. Can you just verify that for the board?
I got 17 on it. You got 18?
I have 18.
I got 17 on page 222. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there, it looks like I made a mistake there. There is 18.
Thank you for confirming.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve IUP 2010-02 with 18 conditions based on the findings of fact.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to approve IUP number 2010-02 with the 18 conditions and the findings of fact. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 23, IUP 215-02, Half-Step Pit. Page 234.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve IUP 2015-02 with 16 conditions based on the findings of fact.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve IUP 215-02 Half-Step Pit with the 16 conditions and the findings of fact. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Broad question on all the gravel pits. How are they being monitored, or do we not monitor?
Dale does monitoring. I did go around each pit that we're reviewing and take a look at it. And then Susan also did the same and took a look at everything. Doing the planning commission.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next county.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Our next county board work session will be April 22nd, 2025. That was today.
So, Mr. Chair, there was nothing to report from the work
I didn't
session.
say that. I didn't say that. Number 25, approval amendment agreement with Short Elliott Henderson Incorporated, SEH, to complete the final design on County State Aid Highway number 48, Main Street, Oak Avenue to Grove Avenue. Paul.
Good evening again. Back in 2021, we hired SEH to complete a feasibility study of South 48, our Main Street in downtown Owatonna, to look at the failing pavement that we have out there, especially between Oak Avenue and Grove Avenue. We did a study between all the way up to Chambersville, looking at the concrete pavement that at some point will need rehabilitation. But we're moving forward. We do have in the budget this year to start the fund design for the project that was recommended in that feasibility study that the county board accepted back then. And we recommended reconstructing Highway 48 from Oak Avenue to Grove Avenue. We are looking to amend the SEH agreement for an additional $720,000 to conduct the final design for that project. As part of the proposal, we asked SEH to revisit the recommendation to construct a roundabout at Grove and Main. Some changes that happened, we knew it was coming, but there were some changes with school, the high school moving, changing traffic patterns quite a bit, could potentially change our recommendation there. And also a realization that to reconstruct that intersection with the roundabout requires tearing up some relatively good concrete pavement similar to the pavement to the east of Grove Avenue. Some significant costs that maybe a cost savings as we just not touch that intersection for now. We'll do some pavement rehab along with the second phase of the project a couple years from now, and rehabbing that concrete pavement at another time. Now, Grove Avenue does need some, if we don't do a roundabout, there are still some changes, there are some improvements that would need. The lane configurations don't move traffic very well, especially there's the left turn and through lane, so every time a car has to turn left, it impedes traffic trying to go through. So things we want to revisit if we don't do a roundabout. We can reconfigure those lanes and so forth with minor changes to the curb and gutter or the concrete pavement out there. However, the main effort would be, of course, between Oak and Elm, which the pavement is definitely failing. The utilities, the city utilities, OPU utilities are all at their end of their life. Been there since the late 1800s in some places. So it's definitely a project that needs to be reconstructed. Also, we're asking SEH to review and include improvements to the intersection on the west end of this project at Main and Oak. It's something that was not included in the feasibility study, but at the time we were looking at a project on Oak Avenue and reconstructing Oak Avenue and including that intersection with that project. But we did a major concrete rehabilitation project out there. What was that, back in 2019, 2020? Seems to be holding up very well right now, and I don't anticipate having to come back to that, at least in the near future. And it was something that we'll have to do maybe 10, 15 years from now, but the signal there is at the end of its life. It's something we need to address sooner rather than later. So kind of shifting the cost of the Grove intersection potentially to Oak Avenue. But anyway, so the entire Main Street design effort, we're looking at a $728,000 fee to add to their agreement. We did budget $500,000 this year in sales tax, and partly it's shared by the city. But we'll have some remaining of that funding will be coming from the sales tax reserves that we have in balance.
So it's an additional $220,000.
Correct. Yeah. Compared to what we had in the budget this year.
And they will be able to get this done in time to utilize the transfer.
Yes, correct. We did get the federal funding transferred to this project. SEH is committed to complete the deadlines that we need to have. So.
Need more action to approve it?
Yes, please.
Board's wishes?
Mr. Chair, I would move that amendment on the agreement with Short Elliott Hendrickson.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the amendment to the agreement with Short Elliott Hendrickson Incorporated, SEH, to complete the final design for County State Aid Highway number 48 Main Street, Oak Avenue to Grove Avenue, and authorize county engineer to sign the amendment. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Informational items. You got your planning commission minutes on page 267, your public works committee minutes on page 273, your public safety and health committee minutes on page 274. That will take us to commissioner reports. Rob, you have anything for us?
I'll be attending a work session for the Minnesota Prairie County Alliance on Thursday. If any commissioners have any questions, please let me know.
Okay. Commissioner Krieger?
On the 14th, I had another emergency communications board meeting, and I'm happy to say we got an arrangement finally resolved on that. So the lady from Steele County Sheriff's Department will be continuing in her position. We got numbers set, so each county is contributing more. And we are part of a group of areas that are working together for part of a $7 million grant to start doing the mapping of schools in the area and all that. So that we got a lot done at that meeting. On the 15th, I had a Mid-Prairie Joint Powers Board meeting, and on the 16th, we had a county board, our first budget meeting for 2026.
Commissioner Abbey?
15th, Mid-Prairie Joint Powers Board meeting, and the 16th, our budget, first budget meeting.
Renee, you have anything for us?
Couple of things. I met with a professor from Winona State on Monday to discuss the possibility of hosting some of the Winona State students as interns. And I've spoken with a number of department heads that believe that we can probably put together some meaningful projects. And I think in light of the work that we'll be doing to set up our new Human Services Division, there could be some projects associated with that they might be able to help us with. So I'm looking forward to working with staff to put together some plans, and hopefully we'll maybe be hosting some students right away yet this summer. You're aware that I've been holding kind of these ad hoc safety meetings as a way of moving forward some of the concerns that employees had. And one of the issues that we are encountering was the outer doors locking on us on board meeting nights. We have now fully activated double present, so we can lock the doors if they're unlocked when they shouldn't be, and we can unlock them when they are locked and shouldn't be. So we're pretty excited about getting that up and running. We're also clarifying our badging procedures and practices, the color coding for EMS and that sort of thing. So I think we've got a really solid plan for what that could look like going forward, and we'll be getting those implemented. So I think ultimately we're moving forward some of these smaller initiatives that could have huge impact. The last thing that came out of the ad hoc committee was the desire for some additional training, and we're actually going live with our first round of verbal de-escalation training. We're going to hold 2 sessions, one on April 29th and one on May 1st. We're using one of our deputies to offer that training. We're encouraging all of the frontline employees, particularly those in the admin building, to participate in that training. We'll do an assessment and likely be repeating it with some regularity. We will have a personal safety and active shooter training that's scheduled for mid-May. Again, we'll offer 2 sessions, do some evaluation and assessment. Sheriff Montilli is the one that will be leading those sessions. And I think our goal is to hopefully get all of the employees of Steele County and Blooming Prairie, just those that are office are invited to attend, to participate in these trainings with some regularity, so that hopefully, if something does ever happen, that we've got the muscle memory to know what to do.
Thank you. Commissioner Brock?
On the 14th, I had a SEMCAC meeting. On the 15th, I had a public safety meeting. On the 16th, we had our county budget planning meeting, and then the work meeting today.
Thank you. Commissioner Glenn?
We had a work session, and I attended the History Center meeting last night.
Okay, and I attended the budget session on the 16th, on our work session before this meeting.
Mr. Chair, I forgot to mention public safety on the 15th.
Okay. Take that down as a note. Next meeting notices, Property Maintenance Committee, Thursday, May 1st, 8 o'clock in the boardroom. Internal Essential Services, Tuesday, May 6th, 8 o'clock in the boardroom. Land Use and Records, Thursday, May 8th, 8 o'clock in the boardroom. Public Works Committee, Tuesday, May 13th, 8 o'clock at the Public Works Facility. Our next county board work session is Tuesday, May 13th at 4. And our next county board meeting is Tuesday, May 13th at 5 o'clock. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming.